Welcome to another episode of iConis podcast. Today's episode is a unique and interesting one. Planet of Vampires. I said planet of vampires. Barry?
Hey,
Roll the intro. Roll the intro. Hi, everyone. Thank you for tuning into the iConis podcast. Once again, this is Barry 3D on my side, as always, as the one and only
Rod C.
And we are joined by our brother.
Larry Recosado.
Yes, and as Rod said, we're going to talk about Planet and Vampires. So you're going to look at us and go, what? Who? Okay, before we get into that, we're going to do our round table. So first and foremost, if you're going to find out anything where I'm going to be at or doing, you can check out barry3d.com. Barry3d.com. You can find all my posts. I got some upcoming shows here in the Montreal area, so keep your eyes out for that. Rod, where can we find you?
As I said, you can find me on the World Wide Web, Instagram, at Mr. Rod C. That's MrRodC. And you can find me everywhere. There you go.
All right. Excellent. And Larry, where can we find you?
You can always find me on Facebook, running the Forgotten, Obscure, and Underrated Comic Characters page.
Which is a beautiful page to be on. And remember, if you join that page, respect the rules and you'll have no problems. Okay. And on top of that, we got to thank our man who made us this new template and give a shout out to the one and only. Who are we talking about, Rod?
Jaybird Digital Arts.
Mr. Jason Reese, Jaybird Digital Arts. You let him know you heard about him on the iConis podcast, iConis podcast, and he'll give you a discount on the work. Now, sometimes we're going to get into it. I see stuff. We all see stuff. Comic books is a visual media. You read it, you see it, you get caught in by the art, and you get entrapped into the story. This is what's supposed to happen majority of the time. So most of the time, we're on the right path. And sometimes, not so much. And this is why we're all here today. So Larry and Rod might want to choke me at the end of this one, but here we go. You know, God bless you. So from way back, I like going through the back issues. You go through your local comic book store, you go through the back issue bins, you see these things, and then sometimes it sparks a memory of a comic you probably saw. So I remember reading some old school comics and seeing an ad for an old school comic, and then it's like, oh right, because I like that artist, which was Neil Adams. So I picked up and I looked at the cover and I'm like, man, I'm gonna get this another day. And it's called Planet of Vampires. All right. Pretty basic comic, right? Planet, okay, we live on one. Vampires, I'm into that spooky stuff. And the guy was dressed almost in a spacesuit. I was all in. And then Neil Adams. How can I go wrong? Let me tell you the ways. So I'm thinking this is a full-out series. I can't find a full series, gentlemen. I'm looking around for the series. Obviously, can't find the series. And then I've come to realize it was only Thank you, Larry. It was unos, dos, tres. As Larry was telling me, it was only 3 issues, and I'm like, what? I remember having Protector, and I couldn't find the other ones. And once again, that was only 3 issues, and there's a reason for that. So, Larry, before we go into this madness of Planet of Vampires, do you want to give us a little bit of history on lists comics? Now there's 2. Larry will explain. Okay.
All right. So, in 1974, Martin Goodman decided to leave Marvel Comics, which he was the publisher of at the time, and start his own comic using the old name for Marvel Comics, Atlas, but adding Seaboard, Atlas Seaboard Comics. So 1975, he puts out a lot of different stuff, offers creators the creator-owned characters. So that was something brand new at the time. Nobody thought about doing that. Matter of fact, there were even lawsuits about that at the time. And people trying to get their characters back. All right. So he starts this company. For some reason, during the entire year, he only manages to get 3 issues of every title they published out. But there were several titles. They went from anything from the superhero to the barbarian to science fiction and the spooky stuff. So there were a lot of titles from Atlas Seaboard. It just didn't go anywhere.
No, it did not.
And within 1 year, the entire company's gone.
Right. Because I remember because the person at the time that left, Marvel at the time it was called because it was, if I have it right, it was Atlas Comics first, then it became Timely Comics, which turned into Marvel, correct? Or do I have it
Yes.
backwards? Okay.
No, I think that's right.
Okay. So that's how it came about. And then, the is it Goodwin? I think it was Goodwin who was the publisher. Goodman, thank you. Goodman went over, publisher, and he wanted to hand this off to his son, Chip. Yeah. We're up there to leave it to Beaver. Right. As soon as Chip is taking over, if your son is named Chip, he's not a chip off the old block. This is where we're going to go off the rails. So this is like this is back then. I mean, if this is 1974, 75, you can imagine if his son Chip is supposed to take over. Obviously, Chip was born clearly in the late 50s or something like that, right? I'm just assuming. Okay. So we get into it. So he's got the artist, he's got the creative control about it, and he's got the titles. Now, some titles, you look at it and like, the cover is kind of weak. But this one, Planet of Vampires, grabbed me because once again, we all know I'm a sci-fi fan. Okay, you got me on there, check. I'm into the vampire stuff. Okay, check. And I'm thinking, can't go wrong. I've seen Planet of the Apes. Right? Like I know, Rod, you made that comparison earlier today when I asked you if you read the books. You're like, oh, it's like Planet of the Apes kind of mashup. And I'm like, yeah, I like the movie. So, I like Bram Stoker's Dracula. Okay. I like Lost Boys. Okay. I like Fright Night. Right? Those are classic movies. I'm thinking, I'm getting to this comic book. Can't go wrong.
How can you go wrong?
Let's just say
you went wrong.
I went wrong. I'll say this, and I know we're going to talk about this because one, even though I went wrong, I still think the premise was really good. I mean, if you were a fan of I Am Legend, be it the novels or the movie, you would have gotten drawn in just like I've gotten drawn in. If you were a fan of Planet of the Apes, you would have gotten drawn in same way. Now, keep in mind, we are not blessed with the media of nerdom that we have right now in 2026. You have to remember back in the 70s, we had 1977 Spider-Man that had spatula like for eyes almost kind of thing, and we just had to deal with that. That's the best we've got, right? Like, Star Wars was revolutionary to us because we never had that high quality of stuff. If you think I'm wrong, look up Sean Connery in, I think it's in Zanzibar or something like that, where he's one of the dreadnoughts and he's got a crisscross thing with high thigh boots. Yeah. Pardon me?
Zardoz.
Thank you. Right. Okay. So, and that is true. All right. So the art drew me in. It was very dynamic. If you like Neil Adams, this would be a beautiful poster. Like if you recreate that cover and put it up as a poster, that's pop culture art right there, in my opinion. What was misleading is I don't think that the cover artist spoke to the interior artist when they were making this book.
Hard facts.
Hard facts, right? Like, I'll go back, but I'll just say that the 3 issues, like issue number 1, oh man, the cover looks great. Issue number 2, you see it's supposed to be Planet of Vampires. So you see our main protagonist in the background, and you see a character, we'll get into who it was, and she's about to be bitten by Dracula. Classic looking Dracula, who is never in the story. Never. You don't see her at all. You don't see him at all. You never see him at all. And so,
one of these things are doing their own thing. One of these things.
Exactly. So I understand why it's all good. It's true. I understand why they refer to them as vampires. I think it was set up. If the pacing was a little bit slower to give more detail to the characters, it would have gone a bit further if it was done by a different house of ideas, regardless of who you want to do, or if it was done independently and they let it flesh out. Some stuff was very stereotypical where, let's just start. Page 1, they're coming back from a 5-year mission. Wink, wink. Doesn't that sound familiar? From outer space, coming back from Mars. They come back because they've lost contact with the Earth. Oh, okay. With the Earth, right? They heard their tensions were rising, and then they lost communication, so they decided to cut their mission short. They didn't know what to do. They came back, and they crash landed. And now keep in mind, this book came out in 1975. They crash land on Earth, right? Because no one was able to guide them back to NASA, and when they crash landed, they see buildings and rubble. But of course, if you look up the first box, it's like, here they are in the year 2010.
Hilarious when I saw that. I'm like, so
Yeah.
so we supposed to be flying now? We okay. I'm not getting into that right now. We'll just wait. We're like 16 years behind on that one. Well, we'll leave
Right?
it at that. We'll
Yeah.
leave it at that.
According to them, in 1975, they thought that we would be able to get to and back from Mars in 5 years.
And realize that's 2000. That's 2010. That means they flew off. No, they cut it short. Remember, they cut it short.
But they made it though. No, they actually said they made it. They were gone for a total of 5 years. So it took them maybe like 2.5 years to get there, do what they had to do in 2.5 years to get back.
To come back. Yeah. They cut it early because they were running out of rations and stuff. Yes.
That's right. Yeah. So this is what blows my mind. So I'm like, okay, I'm with this. Okay, crash land. Okay, no problem. And then the crew gets out. Now there's 6 members of the crew, supposedly. I never see 6 members of the crew, right?
Correct.
Right. They make it to the shore. Now, what gets me is at 2010, and this is what really caught me. As a man of color, you have your captain. They set up, so there's some tension with him and his wife, who's on board with this mission. They never talk about what the tension is. All she said is like, you know how he gets. So they got the captain, who was Chris. You got his wife. You got her friend Brenda. Then you got her husband Craig. Right. So Brenda's black. Craig is black. Craig is a large black man with an afro and a handlebar mustache. And he talks like he's strictly from the 70s, even though it's supposed to be 2010. It's like, I was expecting him to like say, "So, brother, how you doing?" Like it was a mix of Jim Kelly,
Jive.
Black Bone Jones, right? And who's the black guy, the black bartender from Family Guy?
Yes. I don't know.
I like to see who he is. I know who you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I expected him to just turn around and have an afro pick with a fist in it, and him just show up and go, solid. That's it's like Shaft just came off the spaceship in 2010. You know what you doing, Mama? Like here's the black exploitation. So,
but here's a joke. Now that you bring it up, we're gonna sidestep. Unfortunately, we're sidestepping the Family Guy.
Go ahead.
But you can see, which is hilarious, that I nearly had this on the tip of my tongue. I nearly had his name, but he still talks like that. But that's supposed to be modern, so it's not so far fetched that maybe Craig could still be talking jive.
It's true. Like we're on Airplane. The afro came back.
Like the afro came back, especially for that. That was hilarious.
Hard, bro. Like, I mean, solid. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's supposed to be 6 of them. They crash land. They get in their raft, right? They crash land in the Hudson River. They get in their raft. Like everyone crash lands in the Hudson River. Looking at you, Jean Grey. Wink, wink. And they make it to shore in a rubber raft. And then when they get to shore, the one scientist who's the older man, beer in the back. Supposedly supposed to be 5, but I never see person number 5 because I never saw person number 6.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. So great writing, but yeah. So did you leave the person? Because I noticed that, but I didn't go back to count to see if how many people were on the raft. But poor Uncle Ben got a spear in the back.
But of course, it was great writing because it was Larry Hama before G.I. Joe.
I don't know if he was rushed or he didn't care about the project. Like sometimes you get a job, like, oh, this job's gonna be great. And then you see how the crap happens at the job, and you're like, why am I even here? Like, all right, let's just fulfill my contract and just rush through it. So, I mean, you got Larry Hama, right? You got Neil Adams, and you have this concept that I was with.
And you have Pat Broderick doing the interiors.
Right.
Yeah. You'll see why this had some bones. It had a possibility if it was properly laid out a little better. This could have worked out, but we'll get to that.
Right. So this is what we're up to, and I'm not going to break down the story in full detail, but I'll just say, you find out who throws the spears. It's a bunch of savages. It looks like just normal humans, but they're savages. And it's like, what's going on? They call them domies, like the DOMIES, or the domies. I'm like, domies? Like, why you call them domies? Okay, gotta keep reading this story. And then a craft comes flying out, shoots those savages away, rescues them, takes them back to the dome. All right, I watched Logan's Run. A huge fan of Logan's Run. I'm still with the Dome, still with this concept. Okay, I'm on board, right? It's a couple of pages. Then they get in there, they meet the people, and they meet the one guy who's running the whole thing called Protector. Like, he came across like he was supposed to be the main guy, like in Mass Effect. You're just a mysterious person that's sitting there, just controlling everything. And he explains that they're a group of scientists. And this is where it starts to pick up to me. They're a group of scientists, and they've made this dome to protect themselves. Even though they don't get into it right away, they explain it a little bit later. So they talk about there was obviously a war on Earth. It was biological and chemical warfare, and the people, humans got divided into two camps. The ones that are outside living like savages have developed an immune system to what's out there, so it's not affecting them. But the ones in the dome did not have developed that immune system, so they are hunting the ones outside to harvest their organs and drink their blood. Now, they're not vampires per se, as we know, as I want to drink your blood and turn into clouds of smoke and you have to invite me in through your front door. It was literally, they were just harvesting their organs. Still a cool concept. I can see now why they're being called vampires, but this is why issue number 2, the cover of it, and I'm just, was misleading to me, because I'm like, but you just showed like pretty much Dracula, but it's not Dracula. They don't even have fangs. So this is where this story starts to pick up, and then it's just chop, 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 chop. Like how I'm explaining to you is probably a lot better than how the story and pacing was. And I mean, I'm not a comic book writer. I'm an avid fan. I'm a reader, and the thing is, I went in wanting to enjoy this as much as possible, and that's where I got right now. And the characters are archetypes. And look, and even though we had Craig who was keeping it real, solid. I'll still enjoy some of his dialogue, but I'm cheesy. I know I am.
Listen,
sorry, obviously. So sorry. I'm going to go around and do a roundtable. So Rod, give me some of your takeaway before we go a little bit further into this.
Yeah. So my takeaway, it was interesting in the sense that, you had the domies and everything along that line. So kind of like what you're saying, but what I picked up, and it's a little bit, they didn't initially explain why they were hunting for the blood. They never really mentioned about the blood and all that kind of stuff, like maybe the second issue. And that what happened was that when they were did they break back in? No. They
not so basically issue 2. That was issue 3 when they break back in. Yeah.
They break back in. Right. So basically all it was is that they made it outside, whatever. They got still some savages that were inside helped make an escape, and they came out, whatever the case may be. So that's great. So in reality, you find out later on that, they are oppressed. They're being oppressed by the domies and all that kind of stuff. And now Chris, the great, wonderful leader from the 5-year mission, who's just got a serious attitude, like saying, you guys can't live like that. You guys need to revolt and take back the city, and that kind of like, bring down your oppressors and all that kind of madness. Like, you do realize these guys are fighting with spears and knives per se versus, I don't know, the people who have the higher technology, floating flying cars, aka like the one, the Fantastic Car. But that's all I saw. I saw the imitation of Fantastic Car in that. And these guys are taking you out, and you somehow think you can take them out? Good for you. Good for you. But I took it as well that later on, you really did. I took it that the chemical that messed them up actually transformed them into vampires, because they said once there's a portion of the story where the scavengers broke back in, they destroyed the machine that they were draining people's blood from, and by doing that, now the domies are like saying, because later on they say, because you messed up our supply, that's what was kind of saving us and keeping all the, the temptation and all that, the urges down. Now, we're coming for you. Because I saw a couple, I was like, oh, wait. Oh, look at you, you baby teeth. Look at you little baby teeth over there. Oh, you little baby teeth boy. Look at that. You just, got all vampire crazy. But, they don't have to worry about suns and stuff like that. So Blade had a wonderful time. These are daywalkers, full daywalkers.
Full daywalkers.
It would have been
hilarious. They're not true vampires. Like, and here's a part that I overlooked: is the reason that everyone's hunting down the astronaut is because they were off planet. They were the only humans off planet when all this broke out. So they are a pure strain human, one way or the other. They're not affected by the chemical in a positive or negative way or the germ warfare. So this is why they want to get them, harvest their organs, so you speak, until you start reading more of issue number 2.
Right.
Where once again it's supposed to be a bunch of vampires, and it shows Dracula on the cover, and so you have the main guy, have his name is Chris, right? That's
Chris,
our main protagonist is Chris, and then his wife, I gotta look up her name, it starts with an E.
Eliza.
Eliza, thank you.
Eliza,
yeah. So Eliza, so she gets captured by them, and this is why they got to go back and rescue her, right? Because Eliza gets captured at one point along with Brenda. So the two wives, they're just there as a classic trope of damsels in distress. That's all 100%. They're supposed to be.
Yeah.
And then they get captured. So, Chris with Craig, keep it real, decide to turn around and get all the tribes together, right? Unified to attack the dome. And they come up with this big elaborate plan. And at one point, they even say, it's like, hey, all we got to do is find some planes, get those planes together, because Craig, you're a pilot, I can pilot. And it's like, yeah, but we don't know how to pilot. We got to take time to get all this stuff together. Oh, by the way, man, your wives have been kidnapped. Oh, no, we need to do this plan right away. Now, one panel, it literally said it's going to take us a while, a couple of months to kind of get this plan going. And then, oh, no, our wives are kidnapped. They jumped on that right away.
Yeah.
By issue 3, you have them in the plane, Craig and Chris flying a plane, suicide mission, kamikaze style, to the dome. They eject, of course, like G.I. Joe. It was like really Battlefield Earth with John Travolta. It's like, oh, we don't know. What's this? It's a plane. Nice. Oh, all of a sudden I know how to fly the plane. Right? Like, it made sense. At least Craig and Chris were flying the plane because they're astronauts.
They're the only ones who flew the plane. Yeah.
They're the only ones who flew the plane. But where did the plane come from? How do you know the plane's still good? They've been gone for 5 years, and the buildings are falling all apart.
This is what he was saying. Craig said, lucky he made sure they put the little insert. Great thing, we thought to go back to the the nearby airbase and hopefully, thank God we found a whole bunch of ammunition untouched. In my head, when I heard that, I was like, okay, we are now in a war has struck out. There's chemical and all this kind of warfare going on. You don't think anybody at that time, 3 years ago, had the thought process like, yo, these things are coming down. Yo, I live right across from Fort Knox kind of scenario. Bobby, Jimmy, let's jump the fence. We got to save ourselves. And, probably not get knocked down by the surviving current, soldiers who are still alive and working. Like, you don't think no one tried to plummet the armory? You surprised something is still there after 2-3 years? Boy, this, but then my head thought of another concept, and we'll get to that later, where my head was thinking. So I'm like, okay, we'll accept that. Wink, wink.
Right, but they got planes, grenades, rocket launchers. All right, Larry, what's your takeaway on these 3
Larry,
issues?
Let me hear you, man. Let me hear.
Well, I mean, the whole thing was a cluster F of concepts put together. You've got Omega Man, you've got our Last Man on Earth, you've got the biological warfare thing going on, so that's a whole another thing. You've got the harvesting of the organs, and the fact that the barbarians, let's say, Planet of the Apes, have developed an immunity to the biological crap that they caused, and the people who protected themselves in the dome, because that's what that was supposed to be. They went in there to avoid the biological weapons, don't have an immunity. So they're taking the blood from them to do that. I mean, I've seen that in something else where they have to transfer blood from one character to another. Science fiction movie from the 60s or 70s. I swear, it's like Larry Hama sat there and just like watched
trope upon trope upon trope.
Yeah, he watched the science fiction movies on Saturday morning and just started writing. And then you get to the third issue where, I mean, they kill off Brenda. Craig ends up so devastated he
Destroy.
decides to stay in the dome. Chris flies what they call a floater, which is a fantastic car, and that goes all the way to L.A. And what
Listen,
from New York?
yeah, from New York to LA, that's one. But let's go back to Brenda. I'm sorry, I'm jumping in right now because I was mad happy, not happy. I was confused. Like, all right, Brenda passed away. We apologize for that, Craig. Let's go, Craig. No, I'm gonna stay. Why? Because her ghost. I can't leave. If I die, her ghost gotta be here. So I gotta wait. I gotta die here. So our ghosts will be together. What?
Yeah,
What? Brother, man. What? That, I'm a little confused, man. Bruh.
I think some of his brain went up into his afro.
Sad to say, I'm like, things happen, man. Craziness.
I said, what's
Crazy.
funny is this movie's called this comic
Okay.
book called Planet of Vampires, right?
Yeah.
But there's a movie in 1965 that's called Planet of Vampires,
Yes.
where humans, astronauts, go to another planet. I think they land on Mars, or I can't remember what planet they land on. The gravity is 40 G. There's like vampires there, but they're not per se your typical vampires. They are like parasites that kind of take over. So there's a vampirism element to it. And I'm thinking, did somebody watch this movie? Went, I can do this.
We're gonna switch it up a bit. Yeah.
At least
Yeah.
their costumes were cool in that movie. And it was very, if you look at this, the rocket ship that they used to go from Earth to the planet they are in the movie Planet of Vampires,
Hmm.
it has very similar aesthetics like the Enterprise from back in the day.
Yeah, also called Terror in Space, Italian movie, Planet of the Vampires.
Yep.
Um, yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Seeing it was an Italian movie, I was expecting more, hey, what are you doing? But there was none of this. I know I'm being bad. Okay. So,
This guy.
oh, geez. Italian action movie slapstick. I'm joking. Guys, I'm having a good time. I'm a comedian. Okay. So
Well, since the name of the movie, the name of the ship was Argo, so it kind of gave it away. The
That's
Argo.
yeah.
yeah. Hilarious. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
like, go on. I don't know what else to say about this.
So yeah, so Craig decides to stay. He's all depressed. He can't go on. And Chris is like, well, hold on, I gotta keep going. We gotta keep going. He goes, no, man, I'm done with this mission. I ain't going nowhere, man. Yeah, I'm staying right here, man. I ain't moving from this floor, man. You on your own, man. He's supposed to be best friends. He's like, all right, man. Okay, Craig, you stay here because I gotta go and find wife. And the
100%.
emphasis was on my. And Chris walks off, meets a protector of the Dome City, and then they have their whole confrontation and goes through it.
Final boss.
Final boss, right? Very quick how they go about it. Even when they get into how they break it, it's very, very trope. It's like, okay, I want to dress up in the costume. I want to have you as a prisoner. So Star Wars before Star Wars. So they get in there, they find it, and then and just in a nick of time, Chris finds his wife before they harvest her organs. Now, keep in mind, when they took her, they wanted to harvest her organs to understand and use her body blood, the same thing with Brenda, to make a cure for themselves. So they're not even using their blood to survive. They're trying to make a cure, for all the people in the dome. But, Protector turns around when Elisa gets kidnapped with Brenda. They look at Elisa. It's like, well, you're unaffected by what's going on here. We're going to use your organs. And by the way, we need to repopulate. We're bringing you back so the Protector can start with you first, and then we're all going to have our turns. I'm like, gosh.
Hilarious. I was like, you're writing. Okay. Trope upon a trope and part of 47 trope. What am I seeing?
Now, a lot of people, though, do say that the problem wasn't in the writing, it was in the editing.
Yes.
And it was Larry Lieber who was the editor. If you know anything about Larry Lieber, he's Stan Lee's brother and not quite as talented.
Exactly. One made, the House of Ideas. The other one's like, what are you doing? I'm playing with marbles. You know what I mean? It's like, I want to do what he does, Mom. Okay, take him to work, Lee. Come on, Stan, take him to work. And maybe before the editing, we had a better storyline with this comic book altogether, right? And I know I'm poking a lot of fun at it, but once again, I poke things and I like to have a good time. So we see, and then the pacing goes, and the way the issue, and no surprise, issue 3, if you haven't read it, I mean, obviously maybe most people haven't read it, but issue 3, Chris gets out, Craig finds Craig, who says he wasn't moving, finds Elisa, brings Elisa to Chris, helps them escape, stays behind. That's it. And even Elisa's like, Chris, couldn't you have forced him into the floater? No, his mind was made up. Maybe I could have, but I don't know if we're going to another better place. And then flies off to Los Angeles, gets there, fights a giant spider. Elisa's, before they left, part of her blood was drained. She gets bit by this giant spider. And then, at the very end of the issue, he's trying to find her safety and shelter. She's looking kind of pale. He touches her wrist, no pulse. Oh no, she's dead. Oh. And then in the end of the book, they have an advertisement for issue 4, which never happens.
Right. Which never happens.
Which is called, it just says Revenge of the Vampires.
Right.
Right.
And that's all we got. So I know everyone's probably listening or watching going, Barry, if you're making this much fun of the book, and you why are we talking about it on the podcast, right? And it's not because I hated a book. That's not exactly what it is, or not at all what it is. I mean, I liked it. I wanted it to be good. I got through it. If I had to go through the 3 issues, y'all can go through it. Go to your local comic book store, check the back bid. I'm sure it's only probably about $1 or $2 per issue. Now, that being said, I like the concept, and I think the concept is what really entices me. And I believe, once again, as I said before at the top of this program, is depending on what movies you like, if you're into vampires, into some of the stuff I mentioned before, it could come back now. And keep in mind everything we've talked about. So, have we watched movies where it's been chemical and germ warfare before? Yes, we have. Have we seen movies with vampires? Yes, we have. Have we seen astronauts coming from outer space? And could this happen right now? So, if you had to take any studio, because back in I think in 2010 or maybe 2020, no, 2022, someone bought the rights from a movie producer, bought the rights, who was behind Ghost Rider, the movie from Marvel, right? I like the first one, the second one, okay. But the producer, he bought those rights and he thought, oh, I got this wealth of characters. And he wanted to make a cinematic universe that would compete against Marvel. Now, understand that Marvel's got like, what, 4,700 characters?
Fair.
Right. Atlas does not have that. He thought, oh, I got all these characters, like, as per comic tropes. If you watch Chris from Comic Tropes talking about Atlas and their history, he says it best. There was 23 titles. You have a maximum of what, 12 characters? Okay. But he wanted to do a cinematic universe. Oh, all right. So would this fall into that cinematic universe, this particular storyline? No. I mean, if you talk about their superhero properties like Protector, Tiger Man, and all that, you probably could put them in a shared universe. This one would have to be in the future or something different on its own thing. Could the storyline still go? Believe so, because like I said, I sat through and watched I Am Legend, and I was all into it. So this, you take a studio, decent budget. I'm not saying it's got to be $100 million, because I know that's what they want to do, but let's be real. They're not going to give that kind of concept. Take premise of the story, maybe bring back Larry Hama and say, hey, write it out how you think it should be and see how it goes, and we might get something decent. Because I think it'd be cool as a movie or even as a TV show, right? Like, this is, and you'll see where we're going, but this is how I felt about it. So I like the idea of coming back, war-torn Earth. There's vampires, but not traditional vampires around, and give the people a lot more plausible tropes. Let someone be inside the dome that's going to be a traitor that's working with one of the humans because maybe he fell in love with the person outside, or she fell in love with the person outside. I don't know. Someone is unite the tribes. Let them find and rediscover certain aspects of it. It's almost like Walking Dead, right? Like you were saying before, Rod.
Yeah,
right?
100%.
Where they go to certain facilities that are usually guarded because now the world's gone to hell in the handbasket. Hey, I can walk in the front door of Fort Knox.
No. I see where you're going there, Barry.
Right.
But I got a little different take. I do
Sure.
like the idea of having Larry Hama still write it.
Yeah.
I'd give it to Legendary Pictures,
Oh, okay.
and I'd have them do it animated.
Oh. Okay. All right. So I see your take on it. But so before we even get into further, are you guys? Can we all agree that this premise does have legs? Like if it
Yes.
came
Oh yeah,
out
it does.
today,
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it
even with the
does.
same name, Planet of Vampires, would you be
Yeah, it
interested in
does.
going to watch something like that? Or watch, read, however you want to see it? Would you give it a fair chance?
Yeah.
I'll give it a fair chance. I would give it a fair chance. Yeah, like there's definitely a couple of, it has to be definitely a full rewrite, right? But
Yeah.
the concept could definitely work because again, you brought in I Am Legend. I didn't even think of I Am Legend because that's more of a base right there. I was going like a Walking Dead,
Right?
Planet of the Apes. Those were my combination right in there because that's really what that is. But
Mhm.
you can infuse the I Am Legend kind of mindset in there because yeah, all you need to do is break down more conversation about the war. What was the
Yeah.
chemical, and all that kind of stuff. And this is where you're starting to pull from like um uh I Am Legend, but I'm thinking the World
War of
War
the World?
Z.
Oh, World
No,
War Z. Yes. Yes.
yes. So
With Brad
those are the
Pitt.
combination right there that
Right.
you can kind of combine it right now. And definitely just go from that aspect of you come back and then you got two different tribes. You got two different types of civilizations trying to keep themselves afloat. And there's enough working bones in this
Mhm.
premise in this story
Mhm.
to make something done. Um
Agreed.
Again, I know we like to break down and just take pieces from each other and try to work it together, but yeah, I can see if we were to do that right now, I'm sure we can come up with a nice plausible script idea for sure. Easy
Yeah.
between the three of us.
Uh,
Oh
it
yeah.
can't be worse.
No, no, there's
Stars low.
definitely right. You're right. It can't be worse. And we gotta take the grain of the salt that in that time,
Yeah.
1974 or 5 is when they put it out. Okay,
No, no. I read Morlock's 2001.
It can be worse.
It can be worse. Same company too.
Right? So down to how you guys want to see it. Let's go down to your future visions, and then we'll
hmm
fan cast it, like as best as possible. You don't have to fan
Mhm.
cast every character. I know I did it, but future visions of what you
I
would
did
see
too.
if we had to bring it back today. How would you like to see it presented, and why would you think it worked the way you think it should be presented?
Mm.
So, Larry, I know
Yeah.
you started off. You
Yep.
want to go a little bit deeper on your
Like,
thoughts there?
like I said, I like an animated movie out of it.
Okay.
I'd still keep the Neil Adams #1 poster as the one sheet to go out.
Right.
And I think they would need to bulk up a little bit of story of the quote unquote barbarians, biker gang concept, because
Mhm.
they kind of crisscross that really badly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the people outside. Um, I'd make it more like the humans from Planet of the Apes. And then you got the guys in the dome who are the scientific guys. They've still got all their science and stuff, but they're dying of the disease
Right.
because they're still not immune to the biological shit in the air. And
Yeah.
then, of course, you got the guys who just got back from Mars. Um, and, basically you're following them. Um, I would love to see, what is his name? Not David, but the guy from the unit. The sergeant,
David Borstein, the one that played Angel.
the boss. No,
Oh no,
the boss from the TV series, The Unit.
TV
Big
series
black
unit.
guy. Big black guy
Oh,
did those credit
commercials.
card commercials.
Right. Yes. 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 And he also played the president in one and a TV show. Oh
Yeah.
my god,
I'm gonna find out his name.
I could see him. And uh,
Dennis Haysbert.
Dennis Hesburn. Hesbert.
oh wow, wow.
Dennis Hesbert.
As
Okay.
So
the voice of Chris.
oh oh oh.
Oh,
Oh,
oh, wow.
what you get?
Wow. I I don't even know. I don't even know how to wow.
Dennis Haysbert, the voice of Chris. Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Someone's wow.
Thank you for everyone tuning into the show and have yourselves a good night. We are not casting any more
Yes,
of this
well,
because it is done.
it's
Oh,
done like cooked food.
wow.
I'm
Done.
not sure who
Wow.
it was the director, but yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay. All right. All right. All right. All right. And okay. Wow. My hat
okay.
goes off to you, sir. Touche. Mic drop. Okay. Good luck, Rod. You're next.
Yeah, cool. Wipeout. So, so I just had to go check a name because you said something, Larry, that kind of like triggered like I swore I've seen something like this before. And when you start talking about the people inside the dome are better living better than the people outside, do you guys remember a TV show called La Brea,
Yes.
2021 to 2024?
Yes.
That is basically this in that sense, because they fell back in time, the dinosaur time or a prehistoric time, and everybody's trying to survive type of scenario, at least this concept. And then they're trying to get into the facility, which was the futuristic tech inside. So like as soon as I'm like, wait a minute, I know I've seen this before, and I actually like the show a lot. So I was like, oh snap, that's good. So I will take that, mix in, season in some Walking Dead. Because really and truly, all
Mhm.
we need is some Walking Dead kind of, feeling. Like, you're like the war torn, you know, cities, people are just surviving and just
Yeah. I see it all like Jericho.
Right.
this is what it is. So I wanted to have that kind of mindset and again have the people not as savage like Planet of the Apes, but they are just in between there slash Walking Dead type of people are surviving. Like you're coherent of what's going on. Listen, the world is messed up right now. It's in a hand in a basket. We're every man for himself type of scenario. I wanted to have. I was only working with trying to replace or just trying to cast Chris and Craig. So I wanted
Right.
live action.
Okay.
I'm gonna say in the reverse, so I'm just gonna let you know. So for Craig, I
Yes.
wanted to have Sterling Brown. I
Oh,
wanted
oh,
someone. I wanted someone that is like he's not gonna be the brother kind of like that, like brother, but he will give you the modern time kind of like I will put my foot in your face kind of scenario and make you rethink your last statement before I take your life out type of scenario. Sterling Brown. Oh yeah. Still
Good
smooth
man.
choice.
and good from there. Now, I need someone to keep up with him. Someone who is just as rough, even rougher. And that's why I was leaning on The Walking Dead. Who is the main person when you think Walking Dead? Who is the main guy when we think about Walking Dead? Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to reintroduce you to Andrew Lincoln. We just got to bring him out of retirement and say, we need you one more time, son. We need you in an alternate universe. This is not Walking Dead. This is the Planet of the Vampires. We just need you just give us a little Rick. You're not Rick? No, you're not Rick. You're Chris. You're not Rick. You're Chris. But
Right.
give us some Rick.
Okay.
Give us the
Some
power of
Rick.
Rick.
Wow.
I need
Okay.
someone who will just attitude right in your face and like, I don't care, Craig. You don't want to fine if you don't want to come. I'll let you deal with the vampire yourself. Liza, we're out.
Wow.
Gone.
Okay. Gone. All right. So it's funny how you made your pick, and you're gonna see when I mention my pick and talk about a couple of things, you're gonna laugh. Strong bloodlines. So I'm turning around and for myself. So we've got a. So Rod, you're going with a movie, right?
Yeah, I'm going to movie. Yeah, one shot.
Right. Larry, okay, one shot. Larry's going with a cartoon. Got it. So for my pick on this, I turn around and I envision this project to have a lot more legs to it. So there's a lot more people that have stories. I like to see some more flashbacks scenarios with
Fair
characters.
enough.
So even though some of them die off really quick, I like to think that you have a flashback scenario where it can lead to conspiracy theory. I like the conspiracy theory aspect. So for
Good.
the pilot that was the only one that landed on Mars, on one of the moons on Mars, and got back in, but as soon as he made it, he died in issue 1 with a spear in the back. I like to see him kind of develop a little bit more, and you'll see where I'm going with this. So first of all, I like this to be a limited streaming episode series, right? Give me 6 episodes, 4 to 6 episodes, about an hour each, whatever streaming thing. Put a little bit of a budget behind it, so it looks good. It's going to be written well. So because I'm a huge fan of, I mean, I know a lot of people like This Is Us. I'm a huge fan of Paradise. So you're talking about Sterling Dave Brown. I'm going with the person behind This Is Us, which is Dan Fogelman. So Dan Fogelman is the writer of Paradise. He's the writer of This Is Us, along with other things that he's done. And I think he does those flashback sequences really well if you're a fan of either one of those properties, right? So get him to take the basic of it, look at this concept, flesh it out a little bit more with some of the other characters, and let them be a little bit more intertwined, right? And how it can come together. So some of it might be, oh man, it's too much of a coincidence, but that makes it interesting TV. Streaming service, because any regular series, I mean, station wouldn't put the budget behind it or let it cook the way it should cook. So this is my thing. And for Chris, well, why change the man's name? Chris is a good name, so my guy is also Chris, and I want Chris, the captain, to be another Chris who's a captain, and that's Chris Pine, right?
Okay.
If you look at when Chris played Jack Reacher, if you look at what he played, obviously Captain Kirk, right? He's got that action persona at this point. If you see pictures of him now, his hair is a little bit longer. He's got a slight little bit of gray in his hair, so you don't even have to get rid of that, right? And let him go through this whole scenario, but don't let it be so straightforward of vampires. I want to know, it's like, okay, you guys went to Mars for a mission, but there's a mission within a mission. You understand? It wasn't just to get there. There was maybe something there to bring back. Let that start having layers to it. And if you've watched Paradise on Disney Plus, you'll see what I'm talking about, where certain layers come about. So even when characters pass away on that TV show, they're still brought back a couple of episodes later on. And you're like, oh, and then you find out more of the backstory and how everything starts to intertwine bit by bit. So someone could be a puppet master pulling the strings. And I'd like to see Chris be brought along, and without even realizing it, you're thinking, oh, he's the main protagonist, and you don't realize someone was pulling his strings at the same time. So that's where I'm going with that limited series, and see from there. And then I would love to say, do this. If that can go from a limited series, let's not stop there. Let's really expand the imagination. Take some of that storyline that we might not cover in there, and open it up to a video game world with the same voice actors, same writer behind it.
Okay.
To expand on the story, right? So there we go. That's how it is on this one. So people, I know it might seem we poked fun of it, it might seem we didn't like it, but you have to understand, like as I always said, it's the imagination. So if you can get behind the concept, then you can understand it might not have been a hit back then, but it could be a hit tomorrow. All right. Any last words, gentlemen?
Well, always keep reading. Keep writing, keep drawing. You guys are creators yourselves.
Excellent. Any last words, Rod?
Listen, just keep your mind open to possibilities and different ideas. Something will catch, and that's exactly what this is.
Exactly. Remember, people, like, subscribe, and share. Don't let the show be a secret. And as I like to say, this whole world is created by a pencil, a piece of paper, and lots of imagination. And we had a lot today. This is the iConis podcast. Tune in, set your notifications, and don't forget, we got a coffee page, we got a Patreon page. Check it out, and all our respective pages. Thank you very much. Till next time.